Hey, what's up guys? Ben Clark here for Adaptive Reform. Now, my good friend Jem over at Wheels No Heels reached out to me recently and thought we'd do some sort of awesome collaboration. And when it's Jem, I'm always down to do some collaboration with her. She's pretty awesome and her channel. So if you come over from there, hello all those people that are coming from Gems. So yeah, today's video is called Wheelchair Tag. And basically the idea of it is that you get to know some of the other YouTubers that are in wheelchairs and doing awesome stuff. And also that we're going to be answering some frequently asked questions. So without further ado, I think it's best that we get on with those questions. So the first one is, why do I use a wheelchair? Well, I use a wheelchair because I have something called spinal cord injury. I broke my neck in 2010 when I thought I was an extra on Baywatch, running into the sea, diving in and hitting my head. I wasn't actually on Baywatch, I just thought I was. But yeah, that left me with a paralysed spine and paralysed from the chest down, as well as my arms being affected and my hands as well. So because of that, I can't use my legs and therefore I can't walk. So I need a different way of getting around, and that way getting away around is my wheelchair. So the next question is, am I a full-time user of the wheelchair or a part-time user of the wheelchair? I am what you would call a full-time user. There is no use of my legs whatsoever, so all of my day is in my wheelchair. The only time that I'm out of it is when I'm driving or when I'm sleeping or if I'm sitting on the sofa. So there are times that I'm outside of my wheelchair, but it's not in terms of being able to walk. So what is the make and model of my chair? So I have something called a Quickie Helium Pro. And back when I bought it, it was one of the lightest wheelchairs on the market, and it is a fully welded frame. So quite a lot of times in the early days, I always recommend to people to get a fully adjustable wheelchair. That means that you can position it and change it over time to make sure you get it in the position that is right for you. I did this with my first chair, and then I got to a point where I felt that it was good enough that I went to the manufacturer and said, I want this, but I want everything welded. This means the reduced weight is massive. There's hardly any screws on it, and there's no big brackets or that. It's just fully welded frame, perfectly fitted for me, and I absolutely love it. I've got lots of custom options on there as well, including Spinergy wheels and a carbon fiber back that add to the coolness of it as such. Not always necessary, but it does make it a little bit cool because we're in this all day long, and I think it's important to have something that you're proud to be sat in as well. So, do I have just one chair? Well, there was a time when I actually had two wheelchairs, and because I had my old one and my new one, but I did sell my old one, so at the moment I just have the one. But I understand that can be quite risky, so I have a spare set of wheels as well. They're a very basic setup. Nothing too complicated, but it means that if I have a puncture and I can't get somewhere to repair it quite right away, I'm not limited in my day. I can still go and do the things I want to do. In terms of the frame itself, there isn't really that much that's going to go wrong with it, so I'm not too worried about it breaking. The only other wheelchairs that I use are my rugby wheelchair. So when I'm playing wheelchair rugby, it's stored at the club, so I don't have it here at home. However, it is something that I do use for a sport, because if you play wheelchair rugby in a regular chair, it is going to get destroyed. You need something that's a bit more beastie for that. So what cushion do I use? I use a Stimulite Slimline XS. It's a fantastic cushion because of one simple thing, is that it's waterproof. And I'm somebody that likes to go swimming, I like to go outdoors, I like to travel, and it's important that I've got one that is easily washed as well. So with that, it means that it's not very heavy, it's quite light. It's a honeycomb design that was actually first used in fighter pilot seats. They have to sit down a long time, so they invented this. Very lightweight, easily washable, and it's waterproof as well. So massively important for the active life that I like to live. Now, it's not the best cushion for everyone because I don't really suffer too much with pressure sores. So I don't know how good it is for that kind of people. However, for me, it's fantastic. So what is my dream wheelchair? Now, it's quite a funny thing because I feel like I'm sat right now in my dream wheelchair. However, if I was to make one even better, it would be a way that it would make my pushing in life a little bit more efficient. So imagine it like at the moment when I'm pushing my wheelchair, it's kind of like running. However, we have these things called bicycles, and they are a lot more efficient For less energy, you can move faster. So I would like something like that, but combined with the lightweight and usability and the ability to get it in and out of my car easily. Obviously, there are things on the market like hand cycles that attach to the front, but they're quite big and bulky, and I wouldn't be able to transport them outside of, my local area. I wouldn't be able to get in the car easily. So something that combines the efficiency with the ease of pushing, and something that is also lightweight as well and easy to transport. I don't think I've seen anything like that quite yet, but I'll be excited to see what comes around in the future, especially with stuff like electronics getting their way into wheelchairs. Definitely helps us guys out. So what is my favourite skill that I've learned over the years? Well, I feel like the most important skill that I've learned is back wheel balance, and that is where we do the little wheelies to get over things. So just going over bumps and getting over curbs, and it means that I can get up a bit of a step to get into a building. It's very, very useful. I feel like it's a fantastic tool to be able to learn, and it doesn't have to be balancing on the back wheels for ages and going up and down hills and whatnot, but the simple fact of just getting over a bump means that I'm not having to work around it or find different solutions. I can just plow straight on through. So what skill do I wish that I could do? Now, something that I'd love to be able to do that I see quite a few people doing is getting up and down stairs independently. And that's very skillful, a lot of work, but I find it very difficult to even attempt this. One, because my hands don't work too great, so I don't have a fantastic grip on my wheelchair. Being a quadriplegic, it means that some of these skills are harder, and it means that you have to use things such as core function as well to help you do this. So I try to avoid those things, but I would love to be able to do it. It seems like a really cool skill to have, and it means that the world is a lot more open to you in terms of accessibility. So what is the best thing about being in a wheelchair? Well, being in a wheelchair, the best thing has been my attitude over the years. It's opened my eyes up to so many things, and that's less about being in the wheelchair and more about just being disabled in general. It's not the wheelchair that really defines me, it's my attitude towards my life because I'm in a wheelchair that defines me. And it's taught me so much about the small things in life and appreciating them. Before my injury, I was chasing, trying to achieve this goal and never stopping to look around and appreciate what this world has to offer. Now I have a much more insight into my life and the things around me, and yeah, it's fantastic. And if you want to hear me talk about more about that kind of stuff, I've done quite a few videos on that in the past, so go check those out on my YouTube channel too. So what's the worst thing about being in a wheelchair? Well, the worst thing about being in a wheelchair for me is having to rely on other people. Over the years, that's become less and less and less, and to a point where I don't rely on people as much as I did in the past. But initially, in the early days, relying on other people was difficult. If I wanted to go on holiday, for example, I would have had to go with my mum, something that a young 20-year-old doesn't want to do. And things like that can really get to you and can really wear you down. And I think it's really important to focus on the things that you can do and be as independent as possible with the things you can do. It is difficult, but for me, that's the worst thing about being in a wheelchair, and that's why I focused on making sure that it was something that was minimized in my life. So what is my dream attachment or accessory for my wheelchair? Now, I'm lucky enough that I do a lot of product reviews, so I got a lot of stuff come to me, like the freewheel is fantastic, the electric smooth is good, the rib grips, all really great products. Something that I would love to get is an electric trike attachment where you just clip the wheel onto the front and you can ride around like you're on a motorbike. But for me, a dream attachment would be anything that just makes my life easier. I've got some things that do that, but stuff that makes my life easier is what is all about. This life can be tough, getting up in the morning, getting dressed, any little thing I can do to help. However, the thing that I would want isn't actually on a wheelchair. It's exercise equipment. As you guys know who watch my stuff, I'm all about fitness, I'm all about health. So making sure I've got the right fitness equipment around me, stuff like a ski erg or a cable machine set up at home would be at the top of my priority list. So what's the weirdest or stupidest thing that somebody has ever said to me in a wheelchair? Well, I've had so many that would be hard to say, but I think this all comes from ignorance and misunderstanding and really not understanding what somebody in a wheelchair goes through on a day-to-day basis. And because of this scaredness and people are worried about offending you, for example, it can lead to some awkward situations. For me personally, one of the worst ones was somebody said that I'm glad I'm not you. And for somebody in a wheelchair who's not myself, who's quite strong-willed, somebody who's not, that could be a horrible thing to hear. Like, I'm glad that I'm not you is a horrible thing to hear. And I know where their place is coming from. I know they're trying to mean good most of the time, but to say those kind of things is just ignorant, and it can be extremely upsetting for some people. So what advice would I give to someone who's buying a wheelchair? The thing I would advise is, again, in the early stages, make sure you're getting one that's as adjustable as possible. It might be a little bit heavier, it might not be as snazzy, but it means that you can learn to feel what is right for you. Whether it's to have your bum a little bit more forwards, a bit more back, be sat up higher, be sat down lower, have the angle of your knees up higher. There's so much variety that you need to think about when purchasing a wheelchair. So get it right first, and then once you've done that, spend a couple of years in it, really get used to it, and then when you feel like you're at the point where it's fantastic and you've got this setup absolutely perfect, go and buy the snazzy one, go and buy that handmade one that's fully welded and it has all the bits and pieces that you want on it. Don't go wasting your money on something, because there's so many people that go down that route and then they end up regretting it because it's not good. And also, I recommend don't always go for the thing that sounds the best. Just because it's the lightest wheelchair in the world doesn't mean that it can hold up to the tests and durabilities of living your daily life. If you're somebody that's outdoors and active, you might need something that's a little bit more rugged, but obviously that comes at the cost of making sure that it's going to be a bit heavier because you need that extra frame or that suspension put in or whatever you might need. So make sure that you get in the one that's right for you and your life. The wheelchair works for you, not the other way around. So there you have it, guys. I hope you learned a little bit more about me and I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you join me from Jem's YouTube channel, then welcome to mine. I've got loads more videos on my YouTube channel, mostly about health and fitness for wheelchair users, but I also do a little bit about independence, also do a little bit of traveling there and a few little bit extra bits here and there. At the moment, while I'm filming this video, I am doing lots of live streams at the moment because we're indoors and isolated. So be sure to check out all those. I go live every day to do fitness, and most days I'm doing a live stream where I'm interviewing other wheelchair users. Now, seeing as this is called Wheelchair Tag, I've got to tag somebody else, and I'm going to tag my new good friend Jessie. So Jessie is somebody that I did a live stream with. I'm going to tag her and make sure that she's going to do a video just like this. But for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. It was nice to talk about these kind of things because most of my stuff here is all about fitness. So it's good to give these questions a go. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure, as always, just like the video and subscribe for more. Thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon.